What are you saying, guys? Welcome back to... What are you saying, guys? And welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some 2023 reflection. I'm going to go through... It's like a journal with me. Like the monthly journal with me's that we already do. But obviously we're now not going to be looking just at December. We're going to take a look over the whole year. So get ready. Grab a snack. Grab your journal, a pen, or your laptop. And here we go. Let's roll the intro. Right? Subscribe! I love you guys. So this video is going to be just reflecting on 2023, and then there's going to be a second part to this video which is going to be all journal prompts for prepping for 2024. So I just figured we need separate videos so we can really get into it. So that's the plan, and okay, here we go. Question number 1. What are 10 moments from 2023 you're grateful for? I say 10, but you know, tailor it if you want to do 3, if you want to do 5, if you want to do 10, just however many you want. But let's start off with some gratitude from the year. So I am going to answer these as we go along. Okay, so I've had a little think about my answer for this question, and now I'm going to share it with you. I try to go kind of like in order, like trying to remember. It's actually really hard remembering the year, side note. January through to December, kind of key moments that stood out. I had a really big kind of family milestone happen in my personal life in January, which felt like it healed part of my inner child. So that has 1000% got to make the list. I've also got my holiday to Dominican Republic with my mum. That was such a perception altering trip. I would say it was the start of me spiritually connecting to myself even stronger. And I was doing like meditations really early in the morning, like on the beach, and I don't know, it just really shaped the view that I had on life. It's so difficult to explain. It was just a very, very unique experience that I had there. Another one was going to Paris to see Chris Brown, like just obvious reasons, like oh my god, that was just, to be able to do that, insane. Starting content full time and leveling up like the quality of my videos and stuff. It's actually crazy to think. This time last year, my videos were not like, this setup started in Jan of this year. It feels like so long. This camera, again, Jan this year. I don't know if you guys remember, I painted my walls like this time last year to just fully do like a renovation on like the quality of my videos, and yeah, I basically upscaled everything. But yeah, full time now, which is absolutely mental. Being a bridesmaid at my cousin's wedding, like obviously that was like the most obvious one from this year. I say being a bridesmaid, but it was just the wedding. It was the whole wedding in general was just like an incredible everything. It was just, yeah. Next was celebrating my birthday with like my whole family. It was a very wholesome one this year, very wholesome, and one for the core memories. Another one, it's not a moment, it's kind of a journey that I went on this year, which is a extended moment that I'm grateful for, which is growing in my spiritual journey. So I'm so grateful for it. Next one, visiting 3 new places this year that I'd never been to. That's a privilege and a half. That is huge. That is huge. That's the kind of thing people like dream of being able to do, and I went to 3 new places this year. Like, just insane. Dominican Republic, Paris, and Barcelona. 3 places I've never been to before, and I just had the time of my life. Developing my physical expression. So obviously, again, this is not a specific moment, but I got like 2 new tattoos that I like have a lot of meaning for me, and just I feel I've enhanced my form of expression physically. Like my fashion sense has evolved, like there's a few things, you know. I just feel a stronger sense of self which is being reflected physically now, and yeah, that really kind of came this year. And finally, number 10 is helping my brother move into his new home and just kind of being able to share that whole process, that whole journey with him. That's so special. Do you know what I mean? Like a brother and sister kind of having that to share like forever, like his first place, like it's so special. It's one for the books. That's my list. What changes did you experience in 2023 in your life situation? So when I say life situation, I just mean external things, like not things within yourself necessarily, like your circumstances in your life. Like what changes did you experience? So the first one that comes to mind for me, which is like the most, is no longer having a 9 to 5. This time last year I was working at BuzzFeed as a writer, and now I am not. There was also changes in my personal life, like with relationships in my family and things like that, without obviously going into too much, and good changes, positive changes, and that's changed things, you know, like yeah, that's a big thing in my external life which has changed. Another one is I've kind of been doing more solo activities this year. This is kind of like a mix of internal and external, but if we're looking literally at things that have happened this year, I've just done a lot more things independently. Independent as a person, yes, but actual physical things, doing them by myself, like it just hadn't really happened. So this year I feel like I really started that journey of doing more solo adventures. Not exactly a deep one, but I went back to my natural hair colour after being a blonde babe for like, how many years? I think I went blonde in 2019, 2020. Yeah, so like most of my basically all my early 20s, I was blonde. Now, 26, and we're going back to basics. We're going back to the natural wave, and I love it. And it's here to stay. So yeah, I know that's not deep, but I feel like that's a change worth mentioning. I can't really think of any others because I think most of the changes, like I changed so much internally, like as a person, but if I think about my life circumstances, that's kind of it. But if we're talking internal, that's a different story. That's a different story. Anyway, I think number 3 is something to do with that. Number 3, what ways did you grow this year? Yes. Now we're talking internal. So to be honest, this is quite a difficult one to answer because I matured a lot this year. I changed a lot this year. I went through one of the hardest, the hardest period of my life, end of last year. It was ugly, it was difficult. I had to face a lot of my demons that I didn't even know were there. I had new trauma that triggered a lot of old trauma that I had to then address at the same time as dealing with the new trauma. And I had to step up in more ways than one, practically overnight. It was ugly, it was hard, but it was life-changing. And that only kind of came to an end January this year, so I feel like this entire year has been me observing the changes in myself, which are here as a result of those experiences that I went through last year. It genuinely feels like I've had about 5 years worth of growth rolled into one. Last year was turbulent, it was aggressive, it was ugly, it was being in the thick of it. Last year was being in the thick of it. This year has been noticing those inward changes as a result. I feel emotionally stronger, I feel mentally stronger, I have a stronger sense of self, I have stronger boundaries. I'm calmer amongst chaos than I have been in the past. I prioritise more mature things. I'm steady, I feel stable, I feel grounded. I'm happier, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I've proven to myself my growth, my strength, and just my overall maturity over every event through this last year. I just feel like a completely different Devina. So when I'm asked the question, in what ways have I grown this year, I don't know where to end. It's not that I don't know where to start, it's that I don't know where to end. Okay. Question number 4. That got deep, but this was always going to be a deep one. Okay, number 4. What challenges did you face this year and how did you overcome them? Okay, so as I said, I think I got my fair share of the big kind of challenges last year. I actually had 2 huge challenges happen last year. I keep talking about the one that happened at the end of the year, but I also had one in January last year. Okay, challenges this year. I got made redundant by BuzzFeed, so that was, you know, a challenge that I didn't see coming. And how I overcame it, I overcame it through my mindset. I think it was out of the blue, no one knew it was coming. My whole team got made redundant, my manager, all of us. and none of us saw it coming. But immediately after kind of finding out, I was determined to just see it as a blessing. So I remember moments after finding out, I was with my dad and I just said, this is happening for a reason. And I got so excited because I was like, this is happening because I'm ready to level up. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for better. I'm ready for another blessing. Out with the old, in with the new. One door closes, another opens. I used it as fuel, as excitement. That's how I overcame the uncertainty, the unknown, the lack of security, the scariness. That's how I overcame all of that, by romanticizing it as excitement, newness, and blessings, and leveling up. They're all the same thing, but just you're looking at the other side of it, other side of the same coin. The unknown can make you feel scared and excited. It's up to you which one you pick as the more dominant emotion. And I chose excitement. I chose excitement. And yeah. So I didn't feel the weight of it. I'm also very privileged, very lucky that I live at home, and so there's not that chance of like, oh my god, I can't pay rent, I'm going to be kicked out. So I 1000% acknowledge my privilege with this. And I know that that makes a very, very big difference as to how difficult it is to see a certain circumstance in a particular light. But this was just how it was for me. And I'm blessed, I'm very lucky, very privileged for it to have been this way for me. But regardless of your situation, an event like that can be triggering. It is triggering. It will always be triggering, regardless of what security or lack of you have. So I just chose to capitalise on a positive mindset. Another challenge I faced this year is some old trauma resurfaced, kind of around the middle of the year. And I had to just face things I didn't want to, and deal with things I didn't want to. And it made me realise that there was still some things I hadn't released. I thought I had released them, but I hadn't. So they came back up for me to deal with them head on. Couldn't really hide from it, couldn't avoid it. I was kind of faced with some of my shit. So yeah, that was a challenge. But in terms of how I overcame it, I just swallowed the fact that it was here and just accepted that I had to do something about it, because I was being shown that I hadn't dealt with it, I hadn't released it yet. Another challenge from this year, I realised that my boundaries were not as strong as they needed to be in certain circumstances and with certain people. And I had to go through the discomfort of reinforcing them and dealing with the mental difficulties that comes with the fact that I had let them down. I had to kind of face the consequences of my weak boundaries, and that wasn't easy. In terms of how I overcame them, I just strengthened my boundaries. That's something that I was in control of. I couldn't control the fact that I had let them slip, and that now I'm suffering from that, I'm struggling. But I can control just avoiding that happening again in the future. That's in my control. Okay, question number 5. How did I step out of my comfort zone this year? I faced a few situations that definitely scared me, that would ordinarily make me feel like I was sinking, and there were situations I had to face, but I faced them and I didn't sink. As I mentioned before, I also went on more like solo activities this year, and I think I really noticed a change in the way that I behaved or the way I felt towards the start of the year when I was doing those things versus now. At the start, I was overly aware of myself. Do you know what I mean? When you feel uncomfortable doing something or being somewhere by yourself, you're so aware of the fact you're by yourself. It's like you can't escape the fact that you are like, I'm by myself. Like, imagine how I must look. Imagine what people are thinking. Imagine how I seem. I am by myself. I'm doing this by myself. I'm here by myself. I was just so aware of like the way I sat, the way I looked, where I looked, what I did, how I did it. You know, just overly aware of myself. And now I just feel so comfortable in it. I'm still on that journey and I have a long way to go, but with things that ordinarily made me feel like that at the start of the year, now I just kind of take it in my stride now. I'm not so overly aware of myself and how I seem and what I'm doing and what people could be thinking. It just feels comfortable and I just enjoy it. So I'm just focusing on the fact I enjoy it, and I just do whatever in that moment like I want to do because I'm enjoying myself. Number 6, what are my top 10 favourite photos from this year? I just thought this was a cute question to include. Something a little bit light-hearted. So maybe you go through your camera roll. If you're someone that has like a written journal, you could even like print out the photos and stick them in and just kind of reflect on, like, you know, you might find stuff that you forgot about. Number 7, what 5 words would you use to describe yourself this year? Strong, self-sufficient, powerful, happy, and proactive. Next question, what did you want to do this year that you didn't? I included this question because I think it helps to prep us for what we're going to want to focus on 2024 in terms of moving forward. We're not going to go as far as that yet, but I think it's important to think about the things that are in our control that we wanted to do and we didn't do. Can you hear that? A group of men are singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. There's carolers. Okay, so for me, I really wanted to go back to New York this year. I just love it there and I really wanted to go back and I didn't. I also wanted to do my first solo trip abroad and I didn't do that. This doesn't feel good. I also wanted to draw more because that's my biggest passion in life and I've kind of lost touch with it a little bit. I definitely have drawn a lot more. I've illustrated so much more this year than the last few years. So I definitely did work on that like I told myself I wanted to. But I want to do more. What was something you started this year? Let's get a bit more positive. It's not like a new hobby, but I started creating the kind of content that I really wanted to, quality-wise, and yeah, just overall I started being the kind of creator that I wanted to be because I was able to. Also, I started to get back into my martial arts this year. This has been in the last month or so it's got it in there right at the end of the month. But yeah, I've missed that a lot. It used to be a really, really, really big passion of mine. One of my favourite hobbies from years ago. And I'm training myself back up to it. And I've started it again and it just feels incredible. It feels incredible, like I never stopped. The final question is, if you had to title this year as a chapter in your story, what would it be called? I thought this was a cute question. Discovering my power. I was thinking stepping into my power, but I think that could be reserved for next year. I think this was discovering my power. Okay guys, and they are all the questions. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you did some good reflecting. I hope it really got you thinking. Also about things for next year. So make sure you keep this as a reference for when we do the 2024 questions next. It can kind of help you formulate your plans and your aspirations for the new year. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much. I hope you have a beautiful New Year's. 2024 is going to be incredible for you. Own it, claim it. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay smiling, stay positive. Thank you for watching and I will see you guys next year. Mwah.